Hello everyone, this is Isaac Dawson with Vulnerability Research. I'm going to be demoing a quick little baseline tool I wrote for DAST and benchmarking. So this tool will read in a report that scan result. What it allows you to do is kind of quickly review the vulnerabilities, the resources that were scanned. You can filter on certain things like CSS stuff, and the same with report vulnerabilities. So if we need to look for HTTP only, you can see all the information's here. We can visualize the actual JSON that was used to create this report, and so on and so forth, as well as evidence and other things that help us when we're going to baseline. Another kind of handy feature of this is if we want to create a baseline, we just take the scan result, click that button, and then it'll generate the baseline format. So the format for baselines is kind of an intermediary language or intermediary schema for doing comparisons, because things are dynamic. So we need to a method to easily compare them. So here we have a kind of the topic or the vulnerability ID. Obviously, since we haven't filled out like the CVSS score for the baseline, we'd need to do this manually, as well as add in any like ignored parameters or things like that. So for example, if we have down here, let's say this is actually get request and user ID is equal to some random ID. We would want to basically ignore that, saying user ID should be ignored. And then we'd probably put in here, like, just so we know, ignore the value, I think it is, something like that. And then for path indexes, this is similar. So let's say this is a like random thing. We would say we want to ignore not the first one, but the second index here. So this would be the 0 index, first index, second index. That'd be some random thing. So that way we can ignore them when we do our comparisons. Some other kind of features of this tool, we can move them around. So for example, a lot of times what happens when we update ZAP is they change, like SQL injection goes from being a SQL injection finding to a SQL injection hypersonic. So it's more exact, or it's even in the opposite way, less exact. So what happens is the baseline will think it's an FP or a false positive, and we'd need to move it to a different vulnerability ID. So we can just go through and select the ones we want and then move them to whatever one. This makes it easier for me or whoever's doing the DAST benchmarks to keep up to date with how ZAP is changing their results as we scan. So that's pretty much how the tool works. Obviously, if we have a different type of baseline, you can just drag it over here. And this is the original one. I was ignore field. That was the thing. And that's pretty much how the tool works. And obviously we can do other things. We can copy them over to certain things. It'll create the necessary fields and instances that we need to match on for the benchmark. And finally, we can export the baseline. So this allows us to obviously export it so we can view what the result is. And there you go. There's all the information. So hopefully this will help me and other people in the future. Thank you.